All right, it's a beautiful day in the city of Lagos. Tuesday, it is that Tuesday the 5th of September, uh, a day that NLC has decided to shut down everything. Well, whether or not that will stand, we'll wait to see. I am Moses Humphrey.
And I'm Joy Adesowa Ramasela. Welcome to the show.
Oh, well, it's a wet Tuesday at that. And we are in the heart of Nigeria's commercial capital, Lagos. And we are here, as always, to spice you, to serve you spicy programming. Now, you might just need to, programs that will help you keep warm. All right. So stay right there on your seats or wherever you're watching us from, your tab or whatever it is, as we serve you what we have for you this morning. Now, we are ready, set on VOP this morning to bring you up to speed with the latest happenings from around the globe. On the show this morning, NLC insists on strike despite government's overtures as new tax regime commences. Plus,
DSS uncovers alleged plot by politicians to stage violent protests nationwide.
now these are the two topics of interest this morning. In the meantime, we would like for you to click subscribe to our page on YouTube. On YouTube, we are Voice of the People TV, and on other social media platforms, we are at VOP TV Live. First off, as always, we'll get into what the cover pages are saying, and we have a VOP in-house analyst to help us make sense of these headlines that we'll be touching on this morning. We have a Cyril Abaku. Good morning to you, Cyril.
Good morning.
Good
Moses.
morning, Cyril.
Good
Welcome.
morning, Joy.
All right, it's a beautiful day. So let's head into it. What the cover pages? We have the Punch, we have the Nation, and if time allows, we'll get into the Guardian and Daily Trust as well. So let's start off with headlines from the Punch newspaper. Now, the banner headline here reads: Tribunals decide Tinubu 25 governors' cases September. Tribunals reserve judgments in Lagos, Sokoto, Kano, others. Parties resort to prayers. APC not under pressure, says legal advisor. Labour Party, PDP, confident of victory. All right. And when you go further up, on top of the nameplate, we have Forex. Domestic operators lament over 40 aircraft grounded abroad. That story broke yesterday. I don't know. I would like to know what you think about this, especially how this affects the aviation industry. State NLC, TUC, other workers to join nationwide strike. FG plans mining firm pushes gold, 6 minerals, and when you go further down, we have GT Co grows profits to 347 billion naira. Assets now 85 trillion naira. All right, is that 85 or 8.5? I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
that's
quite
85.
blurry. 85, right?
Yeah, I see.
Okay. And then we have waste managers urge Sanwo-Olu to probe accumulated debts. And marketers get foreign investors backing for 30,000 gas stations. All right, so Cyril, but let's not forget the banner headline: election petitions. Tribunals decide Tinubu 25 governors' cases September. That's tomorrow, actually, specifically. Tomorrow we'll hear the presidential, and then others as the month goes on.
Yeah, well, so I would respond to the story about the forex and how
Oh, you're leaving this. You're leaving the
The
this one
major,
out.
major
Which one?
headline.
The banner headline.
Speaking
Now,
about-
the
I got you and
what
highlighted
Nigerians
that. Okay.
what Nigerians are talking about is the fact that the court is now saying to achieve transparency and openness, they want to transmit
The results
the
live.
results live.
Right.
But there's nothing special about that. In 2019, when the presidential election petition of Atiku, the judgment was to be delivered. It was delivered live. All 7 or so judges, gave up. Of course, because it won't be just one judge. All the judges, also all the justices, will deliver their separate judgments, and then it will be a case of how many are for and how many are against, and that's what will carry this. So Nigerians of course, want to see the proceedings live, because tomorrow definitely, whether we like it or not, all eyes will be on the justices, on the judiciary, as it were, the controversial. So all eyes have been on them, and all eyes will now be on them fully.
Now
tomorrow.
the question on my mind is, and I'm sure that's the question on the minds of a lot of people as well, why now? The broadcast, the live broadcast. Why now?
Well, like I said,
initially, they said initially, they don't want people to observe the proceedings. They don't want people to know, who played what role, so people will not, take their anger out on the judges. How come all of a sudden now they don't care about people taking out anger on the judges?
No, it's a different thing.
It is a different thing. Please tell me.
No. The process or the procedure is one. The outcome is another. If you were not part of the process, the likelihood is that you remain a spectator when the outcome comes out. But in the case of the tribunal, the PEPC or something like that, I think that the fundamental thing is Nigerians should have been given the benefit of being part and parcel of what was going on from the get-go. But we've been shut out all the while. And so to now come and tell us that, to televise, to transmit the results, whatever, live, is like medicine after death. It's like is clearly is medicine after death. It's now who has asked them to do it? Who has gone to tell them that they should take it live? So it means that somehow they understand the impact and import of live broadcast, but for some reason they were not just willing to do it, because even the argument that had been raised by the other side regarding why the tribunal should not convey or relay the proceedings live wasn't particularly strong. What he said then was that it's not a it's not a
puppet show.
A theater or something. And so, but the substantive issue of law, which was the fact that all Nigerians have locus on this matter, and so since we can't all go to to Abuja, technology has afforded us the ability to watch what is going on live. To be part of the process, to have locus in the case doesn't mean that you're going to become a lawyer overnight. It's for you to see the matter as it were, because the original philosophy of public trial is the fact that the case should be seen anywhere people can, all interested parties can have access to see what's going on. It could be under the tree, it could be anywhere, So if in the wisdom of government we build houses, which is again the brainchild of technology, why can't they extend it to by taking it into people's living rooms for everybody to have access to see what's going on real time? But we've been deprived of that right, what I mean to call it right, and now to show it on live TV. Are we going to have a say in it? It's after it's been relayed. You and I come back and say what we think. But by and large, I understand that for the establishment, I think it was a way of damage control. It was a way of because I don't think in our recent history we've had any other time in our elections when in Fourth Republic when emotions have been so high and the stakes have been so high also, where everybody wanted to have a part in what was going on. 1993 was one such watershed year. 2023 was another watershed year. Everybody wanted to, the interest was so thick. But somehow we've come this far. We've come this far with it. Let's hope that tomorrow's judgment will be something that reflects the weight of the evidence that has been brought before the judge. But I cannot say who is going to win, because
of course we cannot.
That
would
be
cannot.
Subjudicial.
All right then.
All right.
All right.
Moving on to the Nation's newspaper. The banner headline there says TUC snobs NLC strike call. You can find that on page 4 of the Nation. And then right below that's the riders. It says calling workers out of work premature. We will continue to dialogue with government to ease subsidy pain. Then above that, we have illegal miners get 30-day ultimatum to vacate sites. You get that on page 4 of the Nation's newspaper. And then marketers say why we can't break NNPCL's import policy. We see that on page 8 of the Nation newspaper rather. And then NMA cautions health workers on incessant strikes. Then pupils' performance to determine teachers' promotion in Ondo. You have that on pages 6 and page 7 respectively. Below that, that's the bottom headline says flood risk rises in Lagos, Nasarawa, Bayelsa coastal communities. So these are the headlines for today. So Cyril, you want to touch on the major headline which says TUC snubs NLC strike call.
Well, the matter is that whereas the TUC isn't taking part in the industrial action that is supposed to be beginning today, the question is, what are the material facts of the matter on the table? I, for one, I think I could almost say that the NLC, what are they really up to? But the fact is, the hardship in the land isn't getting any better. And it doesn't select TUC from NLC. It doesn't select NBA from NME. It doesn't differentiate between journalists from let's say, for example, engineers, for example, everybody's affected by the strike and by the hardship in the land, the taxes, and so on. So the key question is, how can we as a society find a way to address these problems? Sadly, we have governments that have now become enamored, that have become immune to values and principles. In Abia, for example, there was a governor, the outgone governor, was owing doctors for more than 19 months. You are setting death traps for patients. You are not. It shouldn't even be hard, So only some weeks ago, the resident doctors went on strike, and immediately government paid their MROTF.
Okay.
So the thing is that it's as if you don't go on strike, you
won't get the result.
You won't get any result. We shouldn't be doing that. But what was giving TSU the confidence to shun the strike? Is it that if the benefits now come rolling in, they will not be, government will say we are only dealing with NLC and not TUC, because by being that they will have another crisis on their hands.
Of course.
So the question, how can government become more responsible? How can government wake up to its duties? I personally can't fault the NLC much. Joy, lecturers at COEs are now teaching for only 2 times a week.
Exactly.
I think ASU are one of these people have also, and in other places they've told their workers, come to work once a week, come to work 2 times a week. The nation is, I don't know how many people see this and just walk around and think nothing is happening.
And a lot is
so I think until we drive home this message to reverse this rot that has befallen us, the NSA is going on strike now for the 3rd time since June, which is quite, I mean,
appalling.
But
the last one was more like a protest. It wasn't
a strike per se. Yeah.
It was a protest.
But the question is, so I think this time around, if they do embark on this strike, NLC will do well to be more accountable, to tell us what exactly the government say that you are now calling off. You can't be calling
if they decide to call it.
Yes, so you can't be going on strike almost every month. That way, productivity will be grounded. I mean, the economy wouldn't move any forward from.
Now, what TUC, what Festus Osifo, the president of TUC, said was that he's aware, or the TUC is aware, that government has given states a certain amount of money to use to cushion the effects of the subsidy removal. So he did state categorically that it's not on government alone. He understands that the onus is not on government alone, but the team will go back, set up a committee that will look at the states and see what the states are using the monies given to them for, before they will now deliberate and talk about whether or not they have judiciously, used the monies to cushion the effect of subsidy removal.
To think that Labour has become this magnanimous. They are the ones who want to come meet government, and government didn't invite them. The standard way for government to have done this was before they even send those palliatives to states, they should have called the NLC, called some CSOs, called faith-based organizations, called leaders of thought, even traditional rulers, just hear them out, sound them out, and know what the president and what the federal government did this time around was to, and I've been saying, was to boycott, was to go above the labor unions and just send money to states. Initially we had it was grant. Now we hear that the 5 billion is part grant, part loan. So government does not have to be talking to anybody. They are just doing whatever they think they should do. We just wake up and take decisions. The NSA cannot be the one saying that they are going to meet government to do. The only language you understand, the only way they talk with you is when you do something that will make them sit up and say, please, oh, then they invite you. How can when the labor become the uninvited guest of government? It means maybe you guys have they now have a rendezvous with them that don't know about where they go, and maybe take up a soup, relax,
well, the minister of labor, Simon Lalong, said they should give them more time.
The minister of labor is not the one who is distributing palliatives.
Okay.
So
yes,
it's, and come on, you can't use.
Is it really up to him?
Exactly. Because the negotiations between labor and government about minimum wage, which has not even been, the minimum wage talk has not. I mean, it's as if it has died. Was between the federal government, then like as the government's henchman in the negotiations, federal government and labor. No, presidency and labor. Let me put it that way.
Presidency.
Now that the minister of labor has come in, we've never heard anything about the minister of labor has gone to meet the president to collect the memos or whatever the discussions, and then he has told labor, I'm not in charge of the discussions. There's no proactiveness, nothing. Somebody is taking the other person for a ride. Whether the other party is willing or partially or not even willing, it's up to them. I honestly don't know.
What do you think of this other headline that says pupils' performance to determine the promotion of teachers in Ondo State?
Well, it was always going to be the case, but it's not an argument you can push too far. Okay? As it is in Nigeria today, which pupils are you talking about? The pupils of the rich or of the poor? Because people who have money won't send their children to government schools. It's plain truth. Now, the people those who go to public schools without prejudice to them, but what is the standard? What is in the past 20 years when we celebrate best YX students in Nigeria, Africa, how many of them have come from government schools? So to use that one as a bench, government should punish its own. The governor and his education commissioner should check themselves whether they are investing enough in education to warrant them to use student performance as a way of judging students.
Students that have not eaten. Yes.
They've not eaten. The performance from JS1 from primary school to secondary school. What's the ratio? What's the quality of education that you want to judge?
Exactly.
All right then. Okay. Thank you very, very much, Cyril. We'll have to let you go at this point.
It's fine.
So we have to move on to our major talking points this morning. Well, a strike by the Nigeria Labour Congress is well underway in Nigeria. Let's let you in on that conversation when we come back from this break.